Yes, last week, of course, we had the pleasure of John Bashara joining us. We ran out of time to get through it all, so part
He's back again.
We're continuing. Let's talk a little bit about you. We got across most things, but not a lot about you. How did you get in to horse racing?
Well, when we were growing up, we were in Semaphore Park, and Colin Hayes was in one side, and Albie Holberton was the other side. There was about 300 horses down there from all the people.
Is that right? 300?
Oh, easy around that.
300 at Semaphore Park. So, well, they were all working on the beach down there?
They all worked. Hayes had 60, Albie had 60,
Yeah.
Lenny Smith had 30,
Wow.
Tommy Newcomb had 20, Bill May had 20. There was just numerous trainers down there.
So what drew you to it?
Just
No
the
option.
fact that I walked around the corner and there's Colin Hayes.
Yeah.
And just Johnny Letts grabbed me, and he was apprenticed down there to Jack Canavan, and he said, oh, this is a great life, riding horses down the beach. And like I was 14 going to Morris Brothers College.
Yeah.
I thought, this is beautiful, riding horses down. So I went around, and my mum was a hairdresser because she'd done Mrs. Hayes and Betty Hayes and Colin's mother, and she was doing hairdressing in a salon at home, and I got to meet him, and so Colin said, do you want to work here part-time? So I jumped at the opportunity.
What was part-time? What was your first couple of jobs?
Working 2 horses in the morning and going to school.
What time did you have to get up for that?
5.
Right.
Worked 2 horses down the beach.
Yeah.
Because everyone wanted to ride horses. There was 2 riding schools in Semaphore Park. They had 20 or 30 horses for riding, just hacks. So you were involved in everything with to do with harness and galloping.
And I think people today don't realise just the activity down at Semaphore. When you mentioned a couple of hundred horses plus working down at Semaphore, now is there a handful?
It's 8.
8 horses.
8 horses.
So, and that's pretty
the
much
evolution, that's the change.
That's the change, isn't it? And your brother Paul, of course, who I had a little bit to do with over the years, with Happy Trails, is the most obvious.
Yeah.
You can get on these fairy tale, rides, and he had a beauty as well. So why did he go thoroughbred and you went harness? How did that work?
He knocked around with Gary Kennewell. They were good mates.
Okay, yes, of course, yeah.
And he just decided, he had a few harness racing horses. I drove a few winners for him with a horse called Murray Victor and Lucas. And then he just decided Gary talked him into getting a couple of gallopers, and he started helping Gary. Then we all went up to the Northwest Shelf when things, in the 1977, things were going a bit quiet in harness racing, and the boys were starting to move to Melbourne. So we went up the Northwest Shelf and worked up at Karratha on the pipelines.
Okay.
So we spent 3 years there. Then I came down to Perth for 4 years. So I was 7 years in Western Australia.
Wow.
Mixing with Fred Kersley and all the greats.
And earning a quid too, doing all of that.
Yeah.
And then you get in the harness race, you start giving it back again.
So Paul just went into there, and then he met these lovely owners. He's working for Lenny Smith, and met this couple, Eric and Peter Dieter.
Yeah.
They bought this horse. They saw it there, $11,000.
And how much did they end up pulling in? A few million?
3.5 mil.
3.5 mil.
Yeah. That's a fairy tale.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
And people that go and pay 400,000 and 500,000 for yearlings, I mean, the percentage of them are very low.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
For you over the journey, though, is there an eye in seeing a horse and saying, because whoever you talk to, sometimes it's luck. And you touched on that previously, that the horse to the neck that looked like a dragon suddenly is a champion.
Yeah.
Can you spot a horse? I mean, as best as you
can. Don't look at the sale book.
Yeah.
Go and look at all the horses.
What do you look for?
You just look for their conformation, their knees, their back. Just have a look at their chest confinement, their head. Just
like looking for an athlete.
And say, gee, I like this horse. He walks good. Then look at the book and look at the lot number and say, oh, if he's not well bred as some of the others, if you like him, take him, because there's several stories of 20 and 15 and 10 grand horses that go on to win 200,000 or 300,000 in the galloping. Harness is the same, but your breeding comes into it a lot. You're not going to get an ordinary sire and a mare that's throwing nothing. That's just a fluke.
Jamie, you talk about Paul and he's had that great success with Happy Trails, but the reality is in the 80s, you were one of the biggest players in at Globe Derby. You had winner after winner, and you trained all your horses off the beach. Then you went to Days Road and told all your lies about fast they were going to set them up. But you talk about conformation stuff. You had a horse called the Hand Grenade, which was about Shetland pony size.
Yeah.
And won
the Golden Nursery.
Golden Nursery.
Yeah, and then Mildura, and then I took.
What about when that walked into your stable? What do you think when a horse that size walked in?
Well, I thought there was not. He was so small. I thought this is a pony, but
He had an engine.
he was by Smooth Fella out of a biblical mare. I thought the breeding's there. Have a go, and they said to me, "You're wasting your time." But we just went on and give him time. Patience is another
Was it 14
thing.
hands? Was that about?
Yeah, 14 hands. Patience. You've got to have patience. You've got to wait for them. When they're young, sometimes they don't come straight away. Don't make them. They'll run on the track.
Is that what you learn across the journey, though?
Oh, you
Patience?
learn-
As you get older, you're more patient. Were you more gung-ho as a youngster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Albie Holberton taught us a lot. He was a famous horseman, a very, very character person, but he had 60 horses down there. He didn't know which yard some of them were.
Yeah, yeah.
He had 5 on the tennis court.
5 on the tennis court.
Retirement, mate. What's retirement going to bring for you? 71, I'm still young, I'm active. You look like you're in pretty good nick.
Well, sometimes you think that way, but when you get some aches and pains, you don't. But you just got to go on and
Sleep in,
travel
that'd be
around.
the first thing.
No, not. Don't want to do that.
No?
Want to get up and do things and go and meet the guys for coffee and
Yeah, good on you.
travel
You've
around.
bred one now, JB, that's going around. So you're a breeder and owner.
Oh, yeah,
You've made that
yep.
transformation. But to me, it is pretty sad for you when you say, why isn't he still doing it? Well, he should be.
Yep.
You know, people like JB, and there's a whole group back in the 60s, wasn't there? Shins, Websters, Kevin,
Yep.
Ronnie Cox. They were superstars of harness racing in their time. They're all gone, and they haven't really brought people through. The Websters have got Jake and Brody and Ronnie still involved, but people like JB, their experience and their knowledge, he should still be training horses at Globe Derby, no question.
I'm interested to see what the future holds because we've all got high hopes that something can change, but
Yeah.
it's not going to happen just by hoping.
They've got to work really hard and they can do it.
Yeah.
It can happen.
Well,
no
let's
question.
have a look at how that evolves.
Well, so,
Good luck,
Johnny,
boys.
Hopefully you enjoy your retirement as
Good
a
on you,
breeder,
mate.
mate, and you get to have coffee with the boys at your own leisure, and you don't have to be down the track at any set time anymore.
No, that's good, Phil.
All right, appreciate you coming in. Stay with us. Still a bit more to come on the show.